November 17th, 2023, Friday afternoon. Sam Altman is sitting in a conference room at OpenAI headquarters. The board, his board, has just fired him. Not for breaking the law, not for stealing money, for something worse. Not consistently candid in his communications. That's it. That's the reason. They won't say what he lied about. They won't say what he hid, just that he wasn't being straight with them. Within 72 hours, 505 employees, 2/3 of the company, threatened to quit. Microsoft offers him a blank check to start a new lab. The board that fired him is forced to resign. 5 days later, he's back in the CEO chair. Same office, same title, different board. But here's what nobody asked. How did one person become so essential that firing him would collapse a company worth $80 billion? The answer isn't in what Sam built. It's in how he structured the game so he couldn't lose. Let me show you how he did it. 3 times, over 21 years. And why the third time might finally catch up with him. Sam Altman drops out of Stanford in fall 2005. He's 20 years old. Computer science major, 2 years in, and he walks away. Not for Facebook, not for Google, for something that sounds, at the time, completely insane. Location sharing. An app where you broadcast where you are all the time to everyone you know. In 2005, before the iPhone, before Foursquare, before anyone wanted this. He co-founds Loopt with $6,000 from Y Combinator. Paul Graham, the legendary founder of YC, calls it probably the most promising of all the startups we've funded so far. High expectations, Stanford pedigree, smart kid, can't miss. Except he did. By 2008, Loopt has raised multiple rounds of venture capital. The team is growing. The vision is clear. Location sharing will be huge. Sam is convinced. The investors are convinced. Valuation target, $500 million. Then Foursquare launches. 2009, mobile first, game mechanics, check-ins, badges, social graph, everything Loopt should have been but wasn't. Foursquare explodes. Loopt doesn't. Sam doubles down. He's 23, 24, 25 years old. Refuses to pivot, refuses to sell early. He's certain the market will come around. The thesis is right. The timing will work out. It doesn't. By 2012, Loop's daily active users collapsed to around 500 people. 500. For an app that raised millions of dollars and was supposed to change how we think about location. March 2012. Green Dot acquires Loopt for $43.4 million cash. $43.4 million, not $500 million, a 91% haircut from the target. And here's the part that matters. Of that $43.4 million, $9.8 million goes straight to employee retention bonuses. Not to investors, not to founders, to employees, as a clawback to keep them through the transition. Sam Altman walks away with a fraction of what's left. 7 years. Stanford degree sacrificed. Early reputation, that guy who built a location app that failed. But here's what Sam learned. It wasn't don't bet big. It wasn't listen to the market. It was this. The downside landed on the investors. They lost the capital. He lost time, sure, but he kept the social capital. Paul Graham still backed him. YC still promoted him. In 2014, 2 years after Loopt tanked, Sam becomes president of Y Combinator. The lesson: if you structure the bet right, you can lose without really losing. But this wasn't the last time he'd make this mistake. Fast forward to 2023. Sam Altman is now CEO of OpenAI. Not founder. He joined in 2015 as chairman, became CEO in 2019, but the face of the company. ChatGPT launches November 2022. 100 million users in 2 months. fastest growing app in history. OpenAI is valued at $80 billion privately. Sam is on magazine covers, congressional hearings, the guy who brought AI to the world. Behind the scenes, the board is nervous. OpenAI was founded as a nonprofit. The mission? Build artificial general intelligence safely for the benefit of humanity. No shareholders, no profit motive, just the mission. But by 2021, Sam is pushing hard for a structural shift. Create a for-profit subsidiary. Cap investor returns at 100 times. Raise billions from Microsoft. Scale fast. Compete with Google. The board, led by chief scientist Ilya Sutskever, starts to worry. Is Sam prioritizing growth over safety? Is he being transparent about the risks? Is he telling us everything? November 17th, 2023, Friday afternoon. The board fires him. Not consistently candid in his communications with the board. No specifics, no scandal, just that phrase. They won't say what he hid, they won't say what he lied about, they just fire him. And then it gets wild. Within 24 hours, Sam Altman is photographed at OpenAI headquarters holding a guest badge. He's negotiating to come back. The employees are in chaos. Microsoft, OpenAI's biggest investor, starts making calls. 48 hours, 505 employees, 66% of the workforce sign a letter. One sentence. If Sam doesn't come back, we're leaving. We'll follow him to Microsoft. We'll build a new lab. You'll have an empty building. The board capitulates. November 21st. 5 days after firing him, Sam Altman is reinstated. The board resigns. A new board is formed. Microsoft gets a seat. Sam wins. The board that tried to fire him? Gone. But here's what nobody asks. How did Sam structure OpenAI so that firing him would destroy the company? He didn't own equity. His salary was $65,000 a year. Legally, the nonprofit board had total control. But Sam had built something more valuable than ownership: dependence. The employees trusted him more than the board. The investors backed him over the mission. The org structure meant nothing without the people, and the people followed Sam. When the board tried to assert control, they discovered they had authority on paper, but no power in reality. Sam had captured the upside, CEO of the hottest company in tech, while distributing the downside. The board took the risk of firing him. The employees bore the uncertainty. And when it blew up, Sam walked back in. Same pattern, different scale. But the third time the pattern started to show cracks. November 2021. While Sam is running OpenAI, he makes a personal investment. $375 million of his own money into a company called Helion Energy. Helion is trying to build fusion reactors, nuclear fusion, the technology that's been, quote, 30 years away since the 1970s. The bet is simple. If fusion works, it solves the biggest bottleneck for AI training: energy. Compute costs collapse. AGI becomes viable. By 2025, Helion's valuation is climbing. Sam's $375 million stake is now worth over $1.6 billion, a 424% return in 4 years. Paper gains, sure, but real money if Helion ever exits. Here's the problem. Sam Altman is CEO of OpenAI. OpenAI's biggest cost? Compute. Training GPT-4 cost an estimated $100 million in compute alone. Every new model costs more. Energy is the constraint. Helion promises cheap fusion energy, and Sam owns a massive chunk of it. So Sam does what any rational person would do if they believed in their investment. He advocates for OpenAI to become Helion's anchor customer. maybe even invest directly. $500 million. Think about that. Sam personally holds $1.6 billion in Helion. If OpenAI invests $500 million, Helion's valuation inflates. Sam's personal net worth inflates. He has a direct financial incentive to use OpenAI's capital to make himself richer. This isn't strategy. This is self-dealing. April 2026. The Wall Street Journal publishes the story. House Oversight Committee launches an investigation. Sam is called to testify. His defense? I always recused myself from votes involving Helion. Technically true, legally clean, but misleading because Sam didn't need to vote. He advocated, he influenced, he pushed. The board knew his position. The employees knew his position. He shaped the conversation before it ever came to a vote. Recusal after advocacy isn't neutrality. It's just plausible deniability. OpenAI's legal team, to their credit, blocked the direct investment. Too obvious, too risky. But they did agree to something, a power purchase agreement. Starting in 2028, OpenAI will buy electricity from Helion. Not an investment, just a customer contract. But a customer contract that guarantees Helion revenue. That de-risks Helion's business model. That makes Sam's $1.6 billion bet safer. Congress isn't buying it. The investigation is ongoing. The pattern is visible now, to everyone. 3 crises, 3 times Sam Altman bet big with someone else's downside exposure. Looped. Investors lost capital. Sam lost time but kept reputation. OpenAI board crisis. Board lost authority. Employees risked their jobs. Sam kept the CEO seat. Helion. OpenAI nearly deployed $500 million to inflate Sam's personal wealth. Blocked by legal, but the intent was clear. And here's the thing. Sam probably believes he's doing the right thing. He's confident. He's smart. He sees the future better than most people. But confidence without accountability is just leverage without alignment. And eventually, someone notices. So what happened to Sam Altman? As of mid-2026, he's still CEO of OpenAI. The congressional investigation is ongoing. The Helion deal is live, power purchase agreement signed. No charges filed, no forced divestitures. He survived. Again. But the cracks are showing. The board he once controlled is now stacked with external directors. Microsoft has more oversight. Employees who signed the letter in 2023? Some have left. Trust is harder to rebuild than authority. And Sam's net worth? Estimated at over $2 billion. Not from OpenAI, he owns no equity, remember. From Helion. From his portfolio of side bets. He's one of the few tech CEOs who runs an $80 billion company for $65,000 a year, while holding billions in companies that could benefit from that $80 billion company's decisions. The pattern is clear. Sam Altman doesn't fail. He reframes. Looped wasn't a failure. It was a learning experience. The board crisis wasn't a governance breakdown. It was a loyalty test. Helion isn't self-dealing. It's strategic vision. And maybe that's true. Maybe he's just that good at seeing the future. But there's a difference between vision and structure, between betting on yourself and betting with other people's money, between confidence and misalignment. Which brings us to the financial lesson. Here's the principle. Leverage without alignment reveals how founders deploy capital with high confidence in contrarian bets, but structure deals to capture upside while distributing downside to stakeholders. Let me break that down. Capital isn't just money. It's time, it's reputation, it's influence, it's organizational authority. And the best operators know how to deploy all of it with maximum leverage. Sam Altman is a master of this. He bets big, he bets contrarian, and he structures every bet so that if it works, he captures the upside. If it fails, someone else absorbs the downside. Looped. Investors absorbed the capital loss. Sam absorbed time loss but retained social capital. He was still the smart kid who was just early. OpenAI board crisis. The board risked their authority, employees risked their jobs. Sam risked 5 days of uncertainty and came back stronger. Helion. Sam tried to use OpenAI's capital to de-risk his personal billion-dollar bet. If it had worked, his net worth would inflate. If Helion had failed after OpenAI invested, OpenAI's shareholders would have eaten the loss. This works when you're right. When ChatGPT becomes the fastest-growing app in history, nobody questions your judgment. When Helion's valuation climbs, people call you visionary. But when oversight catches the asymmetry, when a board realizes you're withholding information, when Congress realizes you're self-dealing, the structure breaks. So how does this apply to you? 1. Audit your own incentive structures. Are you deploying capital, money, time, reputation, in ways where you capture upside but others bear downside? It's easy to do accidentally. You convince your co-founder to bet the company on your idea. If it works, you're a hero. If it fails, they lost equity too, but you controlled the decision. Or you convince your team to work weekends on a new feature. If it ships, you get the promotion. If it fails, they burned the hours. The fix. Make sure the people bearing downside have a voice in the decision. Transparency isn't just ethical, it's structural insurance. 2. Distinguish between confidence and accountability. Sam Altman is confident, extremely confident, and that confidence got him far. But confidence without accountability is dangerous. It's how you end up advocating for deals that enrich you while claiming you're acting in the company's interest. If you're making decisions that affect others, ask, am I accountable for the downside, or am I just confident about the upside? If the answer is just confident, you're one board meeting away from a crisis. 3. Watch for dependence as leverage. Sam didn't need to own OpenAI to control it. He built organizational dependence. The employees trusted him more than the board. The structure gave the board legal authority, but Sam had operational power. This is a weapon, and like any weapon, it cuts both ways. You can build dependence by being indispensable, by holding relationships, by controlling information. But if you use that leverage to override oversight, eventually someone will test it. And if you're wrong, if the board fires you and the employees don't revolt, you're done. Sam won that test in 2023, but the Helion investigation suggests he might not win the next one. Sam Altman's story isn't over. As of mid-2026, he's still CEO of OpenAI, still pushing AGI forward, still betting big. But the pattern is now visible, and once a pattern is visible, it's only a matter of time before someone exploits it. Next time, we'll talk about a founder who faced the opposite problem. Not too much leverage, too little. Not too much confidence, too much doubt. And how he turned that into the most valuable company in the world. See you then.